Once upon a time, in a remote corner of an ancient forest, hidden from the bustle of the world, lived a man known as Papa Kojo. At the age of 59, his life was marked by a profound solitude. His humble hut, built from rough-hewn logs and thatched with leaves, was a solitary beacon amidst the towering trees. It stood on a small clearing, far from the nearest village, which was 15 kilometers away. Papa Kojo's existence revolved around his solitary hut and the endless expanse of the forest that surrounded it. Inside the hut, the furnishings were sparse: a simple wooden bed, a table, and a chair, with the only ornament being the stuffed head of an antelope mounted on the wall, a trophy from a past hunt. The antelope's head was not just a trophy, but a symbol of Papa Kojo's skill and perseverance as a hunter. His most prized possession was his double-barreled hunting gun, an heirloom that had been passed down through generations of his family. The forest was both Papa Kojo's home and his livelihood. Each day, he would set out with his gun in hand, tracking game through the dense undergrowth. He relied on the meat he hunted to sustain himself and sell to the villagers. Despite the routine of his life, there was a deep-seated loneliness that colored his days. The forest, with its whispering winds and rustling leaves, seemed to mock his isolation. Papa Kojo had long since accepted his solitary existence, finding solace in the rhythm of his hunts and the quiet of his hut. His life was predictable and unchanging, but this very predictability brought him a sense of comfort. Each evening he would return from his hunting expeditions, cook what he had caught, and then retire to bed, only to wake and repeat the cycle the next day. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the forest was bathed in twilight, Papa Kojo returned from his hunt, exhausted and hungry. To his astonishment, he found his hut transformed. A table had been set with a steaming bowl of fufu and peanut soup, accompanied by succulent bush meat. The aroma was intoxicating, a heady mix of spices and savory scents that made his mouth water. Papa Kojo stood in the doorway, stunned. He looked around, half expecting to find some trick or trap. The sudden appearance of such a feast in his humble home was both bewildering and enticing. His mind raced with possibilities. Could it be a gift from someone in the village? Or perhaps a trick played on him by a mischievous spirit of the forest? His stomach growled loudly, breaking the silence. Remembering an old African proverb, "If honey drips into your mouth, you eat it, you do not spit it out," he decided to take a chance. Slowly he approached the table, his apprehension giving way to the irresistible allure of the food. The following days brought a continuation of the same inexplicable phenomenon. Each evening, Papa Kojo would return from his hunting expeditions to find his hut impeccably clean and a table laden with delicious food. There was always a fresh pot of fufu, steaming peanut soup, and a variety of bush meats, along with cool water and a bottle of rum. Each meal was carefully prepared, and the transformation of his hut seemed to happen overnight. The mystery of these nightly feasts captivated Papa Kojo. He began to look forward to his return home with a sense of anticipation he had not felt in years. The food was always perfect, surpassing anything he had ever cooked for himself. It was as though an unseen hand had prepared it with a deep understanding of his tastes and preferences. Beyond the delightful meals, there was an intangible sense of care and attention that seemed to fill his home. The cleanliness and order of the hut were a stark contrast to the usual disarray he was accustomed to. Papa Kojo found himself spending more time in his hut, enjoying the comfort and warmth that these mysterious gifts provided. Yet, despite the joy the food brought him, Papa Kojo was troubled by the mystery of its origin. He pondered over the possibilities. Could it be the work of a kind neighbor, or perhaps a benevolent spirit? Each meal came with no note, no sign of the benefactor's identity. The more he thought about it, the more determined he became to uncover the truth behind these nightly gifts. As days turned into a week, Papa Kojo's curiosity grew. He started to anticipate the moment he would return home and find the table set with the feast. The joy he felt from these meals was tempered by a growing sense of intrigue. Who was behind this generosity? What did they want from him, if anything? These questions consumed his thoughts, and he decided that he could no longer accept the mystery without seeking answers. Determined to solve the enigma of the nightly feasts, Papa Kojo devised a plan. On the fourth day, he resolved to forego his usual hunt and instead hide in the surrounding forest to observe his hut. Early in the morning, he set out with his hunting gear, but his true purpose was to lay in wait and discover who was responsible for the mysterious gifts. He selected a concealed spot in the dense undergrowth from where he could keep a watchful eye on his hut. The forest was unusually quiet, as if holding its breath in anticipation of the revelation to come. Papa Kojo's heart raced with a mix of excitement and apprehension as he settled into his hiding place. The hours dragged on, each minute feeling like an eternity. The sun climbed higher in the sky, and Papa Kojo shifted uncomfortably, trying to remain hidden and silent. His senses were heightened, every rustle of leaves or snap of a twig making him more alert. The morning gave way to afternoon, and just as he was beginning to lose hope, he heard a faint sound emanating from his hut. The clinking of pots and pans reached his ears, and Papa Kojo's heart leapt with renewed hope. He moved with careful precision, inching closer to the hut while staying hidden among the trees. The sounds grew clearer, confirming that someone was indeed inside. Papa Kojo reached the edge of the clearing and peered through the cracks in the wooden walls of his hut. To his astonishment, he saw the figure of a woman moving about his home. She was graceful and elegant, her long hair flowing behind her as she prepared the meal. The sight was both mesmerizing and perplexing. Papa Kojo's heart pounded as he saw the woman in his hut. Her beauty was ethereal, her presence almost otherworldly. Her movements were fluid and enchanting as she worked, cooking with a skill that spoke of both experience and care. Papa Kojo's curiosity turned to disbelief as he realized that this was no ordinary woman. Unable to contain his surprise, he pushed open the door and stepped inside, his gun aimed at her. The woman, startled by the sudden intrusion, turned and fell to her knees, her eyes wide with fear. Tears streamed down her face as she pleaded for mercy. "Please, don't harm me," she cried, her voice trembling. "I mean no harm. I am Nana Araba." Papa Kojo, though still holding his gun, felt a pang of sympathy. The woman's fear was palpable, and her pleas touched something deep within him. He lowered his weapon, his anger subsiding as he approached her. "Who are you?" Papa Kojo demanded, his voice softer now but still filled with authority. Nana Araba looked up at him, her eyes red from crying. "I am Nana Araba, the goddess of love. I was once an antelope that you hunted. When you killed me, my spirit was bound to you, and over time I fell in love with you. My love transformed me into this form so that I could be with you." Papa Kojo was stunned by her revelation. The idea of a goddess in his hut, in love with him, was both incredible and overwhelming. Nana Araba continued to explain that her transformation was a result of her deep affection for him. She had watched over him and used her powers to provide for him, hoping to win his love in return. Papa Kojo listened in awe as Nana Araba shared her story. Her words were filled with a profound sadness and longing, but also with hope. The enormity of her feelings and the power she possessed were beyond anything he had ever imagined. He was captivated by her sincerity and beauty. "I will love you till the end of time," Papa Kojo vowed, his voice filled with earnestness. The depth of his feelings for Nana Araba grew with each passing moment, and he found himself genuinely moved by her devotion. Nana Araba's face lit up with joy at his promise. "If you truly mean that," she said, "I can grant you a kingdom of your own. You will be its king, with all the riches and glory you could ever wish for. But there are 2 conditions you must agree to." Papa Kojo listened intently as she outlined the conditions. The first was that he must never reveal her origin to anyone. The second was that he must pledge to love no other woman, as long as they were together. Nana Araba's eyes searched his face, looking for any sign of hesitation. Papa Kojo, eager to embrace the new life that Nana Araba offered, agreed to the terms without delay. He was filled with a sense of excitement and anticipation for the future. Nana Araba's happiness was evident as she prepared to fulfill her promise. That night, Nana Araba prepared a meal for them both, and Papa Kojo experienced a sense of contentment he had never known before. The food was exquisite, and the warmth of Nana Araba's presence made the evening unforgettable. They dined together, their conversation filled with laughter and love. As the night wore on, their passion for each other grew, and they made love with a depth of connection that transcended physical pleasure. It was a night of pure joy and fulfillment, a culmination of the love and desire that had been building between them. When they finally fell asleep, entwined in each other's arms, Papa Kojo felt a profound sense of peace. He had found the companionship and love he had longed for, and the promise of a new life seemed within reach. The following morning, Papa Kojo awoke to a world transformed. He found himself in an opulent 4-poster bed, the room adorned with gold and luxury. He was dressed in a flowing silk gown, and 3 servants stood by his side, offering breakfast and refreshments. Papa Kojo was stunned, unable to comprehend the sudden change in his circumstances. He looked around, marveling at the grandeur of his new surroundings. Nana Araba entered the room, her presence radiant and comforting. "My husband," she said, her voice filled with warmth, "I have bestowed upon you a kingdom. Everything you see is yours. You are the king, and I am your queen. Let me show you your new domain." Nana Araba led Papa Kojo to the balcony of the castle, where he gazed out at the vast kingdom that lay before him. The sight was breathtaking, a landscape of rolling hills, lush forests, and glittering rivers. The kingdom was a vision of beauty, a fairy tale realm that surpassed anything Papa Kojo had ever imagined. Tears of joy welled up in Papa Kojo's eyes as he took in the splendor of his new world. The grandeur and majesty of the kingdom were a testament to Nana Araba's love and generosity. He felt a deep sense of gratitude and wonder as he embraced his new role. For the next 12 years, Papa Kojo and Nana Araba lived in blissful harmony. Their kingdom flourished under Papa Kojo's rule, with prosperity and peace reigning throughout the land. The people adored their king and queen, and the couple's love continued to grow stronger with each passing year. Papa Kojo's life was filled with new experiences and opportunities. He led his kingdom with wisdom and strength, expanding its borders and forging alliances with neighboring realms. His once lonely existence had transformed into a life of fulfillment and joy. In the 13th year of their reign, Papa Kojo entered into an alliance with a neighboring kingdom. The alliance was sealed with the marriage of a young princess, offered by the allied king. The princess was renowned for her beauty, and Papa Kojo was captivated by her youthful allure. The decision to marry the princess was made with strategic intentions, but it also stirred a sense of excitement within Papa Kojo. The prospect of adding another member to his royal court and strengthening the alliance was appealing. Nana Araba, however, was troubled by this development. She approached Papa Kojo in their private chamber, seeking to understand his motivations and remind him of the promises he had made. In their private chamber, Nana Araba confronted Papa Kojo about his decision to marry the young princess. Her voice was filled with concern and sadness as she reminded him of the promises he had made, promises that included loyalty and love. Papa Kojo, now a king with newfound power and influence, dismissed her concerns with arrogance. "I am the king," he declared. "I will marry as many as I see fit. Do not tell me what I can and cannot do." Nana Araba was devastated by his response. The man she had loved and sacrificed for seemed to have changed, his promises now disregarded. She pleaded with him to remember their past and the love they had shared. Papa Kojo, however, was resolute in his decision. He rejected Nana Araba's pleas and continued with his plans to marry the princess. The coldness in his demeanor was a stark contrast to the warmth they once shared. Nana Araba's heart was shattered by Papa Kojo's refusal to honor his promise. She felt a deep sense of betrayal and sadness as she realized that her once loving husband had changed into someone unrecognizable. She spent the night alone in the royal suite, her mind consumed by grief. The love she had given so freely now seemed to be a distant memory. She knew that the end of their relationship was imminent, and she was left to confront the reality of her situation. Nana Araba's sorrow was palpable as she prepared to face the consequences of Papa Kojo's betrayal. She knew that she had to make a final decision regarding her own fate and the future of their relationship.